Surprise, surprise! Cowabunga, bitches! I am reviewing 1990's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This movie, while we were in quarantine, recently celebrated its 30th anniversary, and I really actually did see a couple of people putting up some reviews of this movie, so I kind of wanted to jump in on the fun. And I figured, why not now? We're in quarantine, there's nothing really all that much to do. Let's just rewatch all the Ninja Turtles movies, except for the two new ones. Those movies are Michael Bay's zombie-ified madness. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out in 1990. I wasn't even born yet. I was born in 1994, and the Foot Clan has run rampant in New York. They are committing all these crimes. A reporter named April O'Neil is reporting on all of these crimes, and she comes across 4 crime-fighting turtles who just happen to be teenagers, mutants, and they know ninjutsu, and they're turtles, and they befriend April, and they eventually befriend another man, Casey Jones, who dresses up in a hockey mask and fights crime himself, and they come together to take down the Foot Clan, who is led by the evil Shredder. And Shredder is taking all these kids and recruiting them into his crime hole, is what I like to call it. And he's turning these kids into thieves. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is like the quintessential 90s movie. It's like, when you look at it, it is the definition of the 90s. I mean, that crazy theme song. But me personally, I love how this is a origin story of not only the Turtles, but of Splinter. Yeah, there's a few exposition-heavy scenes, but when you're doing an origin movie, I can kind of let the exposition go out the window, and that's exactly what I can overlook in a movie like this, where you have to learn about where these turtles came from and where Splinter himself came from. But some of the effects, I get it, it's 1990. It was an independent movie, which was actually at one point the highest grossing independent film of all time, which is crazy. But some of the effects, like, you just look at them today, like, I understand, again, independent film. It was 1990, it's what they had to work with, but like when it shows the turtles when they're little, right after they get like mutated by the ooze, the toxic, it looks really bad, but it's still like, I laugh, but like that's honestly the beauty of this movie, is that you can just have so much fun with this Ninja Turtles movie. Like, it's not taking itself seriously. It has a bit of a darker undertone for sure, but the Turtles cracking all these jokes and being quippy makes it suitable for kids, while the darker tone of the movie makes it suitable for adults as well. Let's talk about Shredder for a minute, because this movie builds him up to be like this like next big bad in cinema. Like, he enters the fray and it's like he's like Darth Vader or something. It's just the shadow, and I mean, even his getup kind of looks like it's inspired by Darth Vader. I understand that they're staying true to the comics. That's probably what Shredder looks like in the comics. But like, when you look at it, he looks like a combination of Darth Vader and a Power Ranger. He just got that dumb purple suit and then like a thing of like a helmet for armor that goes all the way down to his shoulders, and then the mouth guard that covers his mouth, and then he removes it later in the film when he goes up against Splinter, because spoiler alert if you haven't seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but the Shredder, or Rokusaki as Splinter tells us his name is trying to get revenge on Splinter because he cut off Splinter's ear with a katana after Splinter witnessed the murder of his old master, Master Hamada Yoshi, and so Splinter scratched him in the face. And so like they treat it like it's this big reveal when Shredder takes off that mouth guard for his helmet, and it's just like, yeah, dude, we knew you were like, it's like when Luke unmasked Darth Vader, but the difference here is that we can actually see Shredder's eyes when he's got that mouth guard on. So he takes off that mouth guard, and it's like, yeah, obviously it's a human being, but then you just see the scar of where Splinter scratched Shredder. In all honesty, despite my kind of jovial tone when I was just describing that, it comes off as a bit silly, but at the same time, it does make Shredder a bit more menacing, because throughout this movie, I feel like he's not that menacing. I mean, he's ultimately enlisting kids to do his dirty work, and he's got his henchman, Master Tatsu, to do his dirty work as well with the Foot Clan, and they're recruiting all these kids. So when I see that, when that happens on screen, I instantly just kind of smile, because I'm like, okay, there's the menacing Shredder that should be on screen, that we've come to know through Splinter's stories. And Elias Koteas, I think that's how you say his name, as Casey Jones, he's great. I love that guy. He's the best Casey Jones that's put on screen. He's better than Stephen Amell. That guy's not even Casey Jones. I want to be a detective, man. Yeah, get off the screen. You can't act, buddy. Yeah, he captures the spirit of Casey Jones. He's this rugged, free-willing, crime-fighting guy who loves hockey, dresses up in a hockey stick. He thinks he's a ladies' man when he's really not, but he also has a softer side to him, and that's what I love about Casey Jones in this movie. April O'Neil, played by Judith Hoag, or Hogue, I think she's fine. There's not really much to April O'Neil in this movie. She's more just kind of there to help the Turtles on their adventure. Same with Casey Jones, but there's more to Casey Jones, I feel like. I feel like we get more of a sense as to who Casey Jones is, even if we don't get that much character development with Casey Jones. April O'Neil is just like, yeah, she's a news reporter, and she's got this crazy, stuck-up, up-her-ass boss whose son, Danny, is like the most annoying kid ever. He's like the worst kid ever. That kid's father is one of the worst parents I have ever seen as well. So, I mean, there's not much to her, and I think that the actress is fine. She doesn't mail it in or anything, but I mean, for what the movie's going for, it works. I prefer the actress in the second one, Paige Turco. I think she's a far better April O'Neil than Judith Hoag is, and Judith Hoag does come back for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3: Turtles in Time. Why does that movie exist? Despite really liking its darker tone, despite really liking the more camp tone that this movie also gives off, as well as the characters, the Ninja Turtles, who I actually haven't talked much about. All four of these turtles, you get a sense that they are brothers, that they actually really have this bond, this chemistry. They're great. They throw all these quips around, and it's funny. But despite all that, I do have some issues with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Mostly the middle of the movie is quite boring. When you hit like that 50-minute mark, and Casey Jones, April, and the Turtles go to April's farmhouse, the movie slows down considerably. I get really bored in this scene, and then all of a sudden they want to throw in this weird development for the character of April that just comes out of nowhere. It's not even mentioned that she likes to draw, and apparently she's an artist. I don't really know. I mean, her drawings were really good, and I liked the way that like she was drawing, and then it would just cut to the turtle like in that setting, like in real time, and then cut back to the actual drawing, like kind of like a fade in, fade out thing. I think that was a really unique editing choice. The whole entire middle section of the movie, I won't want to say it's boring, it's a bit slow. The movie slows down considerably. There's a lot of downtime, and it's not very interesting at all. And then all of a sudden, Leonardo has like telepathy, because he communicates with Master Splinter, who's captured by the Foot Clan. And he's trying to get, and like Danny is like part of the Foot Clan, but then like he realizes like once Splinter tells him the story as to what happened to Master Yoshi, he's like, oh shit, like Shredder really is the bad guy. So it's just like, he's honestly a brat. That's the best way to describe Danny in this movie. One thing I never knew about this movie is that a really young Sam Rockwell is in this movie. Wow! Did not know that about this movie until I watched it, and I just freaked out. I was like, oh my god, it's Sam Rockwell! And if I have to complain about another aspect of this movie, it really doesn't have that much of a plot. People will say that the second one is probably the weaker movie. Honestly, I prefer Secret of the Ooze over this movie, mostly because it has a plot and more because it's nostalgic for me, but it actually has more of a story than this one. This one is their story, I mean, the Foot Clan is running rampant in New York, and Shredder's the head of the Foot Clan, and he's recruiting kids to be thieves. That's really it. Like, what is Shredder's ultimate goal here? What does he want? It's not really ever explicitly stated. It's just, this is what the Foot Clan does for some reason. Like, what could Shredder possibly want? That's never been clear to me, and that's why it's always been a little bit weaker than Secret of the Ooze for me, because you never find out really what Shredder wants. Like, every time I sit down and watch this movie, I'm always expecting there to be that reveal as to why he's recruiting kids as thieves, and it's just, the Foot Clan just creating crime. And there's not really much of a story here. So that and the slow-moving second act of the movie slash sort of slow-moving third act of the movie bring this movie down a little bit. In all honesty, though, this is the quintessential 90s movie. This is definitely a movie from the 90s you should watch. Kids will love it. Even people like me will love it. Older people will love it. It's the right amount of balance of stuff for kids, stuff for adults, and stuff for young adults too. It's a darker toned movie, a more mature Ninja Turtles movie, while retaining what the Ninja Turtles actually are and what I know the Ninja Turtles to be. Now, I'm not going to give this a popcorn ranking. I think with these retro reviews, I'm going to do my letter grades. So, because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles acts as a B movie, I'm going to give Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles a solid B. Like I said, though, I do prefer Secret of the Ooze over this one, and if I get around to reviewing that one day, maybe, just maybe, you'll see why. That is my review for 1990s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Stay tuned for more reviews very soon. Hopefully I can find some more time. I obviously, like I said in my review for We Summon the Darkness, I want to do Sea Fever. If I have time for that, I'll figure it out. We'll figure out reviews. I'll get some content up for you guys. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I'll see you at the movies when they open back up.